Where there's thunder, there's lightning. John Nada. I want to start today's video with a comment on a recent video from a listener named Joe Dougherty. I hope that you don't mind me reading this on air, Joe. Joe writes, Mr. Nada, I want to say thank you. I'm recently separated from my wife of 14 years, and I'm a disabled vet with 3 children. I listen to your videos over and over while I'm doing my morning workout, investing in myself and the longevity of the road of life with my children. I have primary custody of my kids, and I try to be the best role model I can to them. And where I have doubts in my actions or even in myself, I find that your videos truly do help add confidence to me and my children's lives. So thank you for, in one way or another, being there for me when I feel I have no one else to help guide me through this turbulent storm. I know I can follow the sounds of the days of thunder to salvation. Joe, I really appreciate you writing it to me. It meant a lot. And, it means a lot to me to think that you find solace in my words and that in some small way I'm a part of your life and helping you through whatever it is you're going through. And that's what I wanted this channel to be all along. I wanted this to be a brotherhood with one another, even though in all likelihood we'll probably never meet each other. The fact that, guys like you, Joe, take the time to write a message like that and reach out, that means a lot to me. As much as you may have think that I've helped you, it's good to know that I've been able to help even just one person. And like I said, I'll continue to do the program even if I only help one person. That means a lot in today's world to be able to have somebody say those things about you. So again, Joe, I appreciate it. And in truth, many of your all's comments and just participation and, with the channel and everything, you guys minister to me as much as, some of y'all may feel that I minister to you. And, as has been pointed out on the program before, I used to be a minister, and that is part of my past and my background. And in some small way, Paul Proteus kind of pointed out that maybe this is, it's not that ministry is a part of my past, but more so this is the shape that the ministry has taken in this present moment. So, and a big part of that is visiting people in the hospitals. I used to go with a pastor friend of mine quite a bit to the local hospital there, and some people were parishioners and some people weren't. And as I've said before, this is kind of a hospital. This is kind of a intensive care unit in some ways. And so I try to visit with you guys as much as I can. And, it's good to get comments like that, because so many times, the minister ministers to, the flock, so to speak, but who ministers to the minister? And so this is a bit unscripted, but I can't help but continually kind of think of the situation that happened at the beginning of this month with Anthony Bourdain. And I was never a fan of his. I'd seen a couple of his shows several years ago. The first show that he did, I think it was on the Travel Channel. And all politics and everything aside, I don't want to get into his political, persuasions or his involvement with some of the feminist stuff, because I don't bring him up to talk about that. I bring him up as an example in terms of an example that I think could have been any one of us at any particular point in time in our journey to Mgtow. Because what I saw in Anthony and his actions was something that I have seen in many young men as my life has progressed. And I think it's something that, if we're willing to be honest with ourselves, at one time, we could have seen in ourselves in our youth. And I've discussed it before on the program, but do you see now why it's so dangerous to wrap your identity up in one person? Do you see now why it's so dangerous to make everything about your life all the importance of your life to be based in a relationship, to be based in a, not even just marriage. Look at how the family courts have decimated so many men. So many men have committed suicide. So many men have been at a loss, faced with jail time because they couldn't pay alimony, or faced with jail time because they were unable to pay the child support, not getting to see their kids, for decades. And so it's so dangerous. And many of us did that in our youth. If we're willing to be honest with ourselves about the reality of the fact that many of us were very in love with some woman at some time. And maybe we were very in love with more than one girl as time went on. You date a girl, you think that she's the one, you think all these things, and that doesn't work out. So then you date another girl, and little by little, at least for me, as time went on, I saw that, well, I've had these feelings for a lot of people, and that takes away a lot of the mystique of the thing. But I think that we all went through, these turbulent relationships when we were younger. A lot of us not understanding what was going on because we didn't have the knowledge that we do now. And it's sad that a 61-year-old man was driven to that point. His celebrity and everything else aside, because what it is it's a picture of what happens to a lot of men. You just never hear about it because they're not celebrities, and they're not celebrities dating other celebrities. But there's many a man out there, and he's not yet come to the ark that is Mgtow, who has had his whole identity wrapped up in a relationship with somebody, only to have it come tumbling down when he found out that the girl was cheating on him, or he found out that the girl didn't quite have the same level of feelings that he did. And so he must rebuild himself, and many men just simply don't have the will. Many men simply never hear what we have heard and what we've come to understand. We're the lucky ones that have been able to hear these things and be in enough of one piece to make it to the life raft. And there are a lot of guys out there, and it's a difficult position to be in. But that is the destructive nature of relationships. That is the destructive nature of looking, rather than looking within for meaning and purpose, you look to someone else, or you look outside and search for it there. Now, that brings me to another point, and I feel like it's a reiteration of some things that we've already said on the program. And it's a reiteration of some things that have already been said on some other channels. And one way of putting that is the freedom from and the freedom to, but also many of us in this Mgtow thing, we're operating from a negative input. And what I mean by that is that we understand the dangers of relationships, we understand the dangers of marriage and the family courts and all those things. All of the pitfalls and snares and everything that face men today as it relates to marriage and dating and relationships. And so we avoid those things naturally. I mean, anybody with any common sense is going to avoid those things that mean it harm. But I feel like, and I've said it before, we get trapped in thinking that is all there is to Mgtow. All there is to Mgtow is avoiding relationships and avoiding marriage, not paying child support, not paying alimony, avoiding any entanglements, legally or otherwise, with the state and the courts as it relates to marriage. Okay, well, that's one part of it, for sure. And so here's the situation I'm faced with. Guys, I have too many hobbies. This past set of days off, I went and bought some watercolors. I've been really enjoying the Bob Ross, some Bob Ross videos, and so I mean they're not great, but they're very cool. I mean, it's very cool to see take something, and just having a blank page and being able to put something on that blank page. But I'm trying to do I'm trying to learn the violin. But then I got in a loop of YouTube videos the other day of people playing, like Stairway to Heaven solos, and Neil Young, Out of the Blue and Into the Black, and some of the great guitar songs that are out there. And I had an electric guitar many years ago, and I still have an acoustic one, but it's kind of beat and banged up a little bit. And I used to take guitar lessons, and I thought, man, I'd really like to get back into playing guitar. And then I'm still trying to do the whole Dutch thing, and I'm kind of trying. I'm to the point now where I'm starting to look at airfares to go to the Netherlands. Although I was extremely disappointed that KNVB did not make it into the World Cup this year, because I really enjoyed watching them play back in 2014. And then there's the other hobbies, just on and on and on, like I'd like to read more books, and I'd like to, the weightlifting thing. I've still not made very much progress on that. So I'm doing a really good job of staying away from the negative things, but there's no positive input. And it's kind of like a car battery. You have to have both for the engine for the car to operate properly. And so those are my positive things, but I've yet really to establish them in any real way, shape, or form, because I'm so scattered and I have so many different focuses that, when the days off do come, they go by so quickly. And by the end of it, I've accomplished nothing, or I've accomplished very little. It's a holistic approach. It's just not, okay, on the days off, you've got to find time to fit these things in, these things that you want to do with your life, whatever it is, whether it's a goal or a hobby or something. It's not something you're just going to do on the 1 or 2 days you have off. These are things that to become good at these things, to progress, to get to the point with these things that you have in mind as far as your goal goes. It's something that you have to work at every day. And so, it's difficult. It's difficult because it's not natural for us to want to work at these things. We feel like they should come easy. We want them to come right away. We want that instant gratification. But that's just not the way things work. And I guess what I'm saying with all this is it's good to see, because I a lot of the recent postings on the Mgtow Reddit have been those of, the positive side of things. People going out and riding their motorcycles and sailing in their sailboats and working at their hobbies and all that. We've gotten really good at understand. It's a funny thing. We've gotten really good at understanding female nature. And they always said you'll never understand women. Well, we've gotten really good at that. I mean, it'll never be admitted to, it'll never be owned up to, but we've gotten really, really good at that part. And we understand because we can look at the lives of others, and some of you can even look at your own life and see the destruction that marriage and divorce and all that has wrought. So we understand that. So we've stopped the bus. The question is, now what direction do I need to go in? And some of us are still stuck, we're still stuck kind of standing still, trying to decide whether or not we need to make a left turn or a right turn. So I guess that's it, guys. I guess that's the message for today. I don't want to just come at Mgtow from a negative, but I want to also have the positive, the yin yang, the balance, the middle path, middle way. Guys, go your own way or don't. The choice is yours.